and fluids, belts, all the good stuff. Cold really hurts vehicles.
You're right, and so does the heat. But I'll tell you something. I come at it from a little bit of a different perspective because I'm a nut, and admittedly so. I mean, like tires, I check my tires like usually monthly. I've actually slacked off since I retired, so it's been like maybe every 2 months. Um, but I'm always aware of like where they're at, and fluids. Like I just did with the wife's car yesterday before we went out. I opened the hood. I was waiting for her, so I did. I adjusted the tire pressures. I took a few minutes. Open the hood, check the oil, make sure the coolant's good. Good. Close the hood. Let's go. We're good to go. You got to just take those little preliminary checks.
Yeah.
And then, of course, change the oil at the interval of your choice, not 10,000 miles.
What do you do yours at?
I started doing them between 4,000 and 5,000 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what
I'm doing. And, I'm having no issues at all, no problems. Some car manufacturers want a longer change. I don't know. I kind of agree with some of the experts that say as a country, we change our oil too soon, too much, because everybody's in that. Well, everybody who's old enough is in that mindset.
Yeah, 3 months, 3,000.
Yeah, it could go longer. It could definitely go longer. I mean, I've proved it. I've even gotten like sloppy. And some of the cars, that you don't drive all the time, it's like, twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't blown up. They haven't burned up. The motors haven't failed. It's just use good oil, change the filter, and
especially
keep looking at it.
Especially with technology now too, that all the chemicals are made better.
Yes, without a doubt.
And the parts and the motors, like the LS motors, the 3800s. I had like 3 3800 motors that got over 200,000.
Great engine.
Yep.
Newer engines by far are better in the long run than the older stuff. But even with the older stuff, my fleet is. I really have one. The newest car in the fleet is a 2012. That's the Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is older than that, and they're all. I mean, the FJ is an 08. That's got 139 on it, and everything else is older. Old iron. But the key is just keeping your eye on it, and just know your vehicle and know what it needs. And the other thing is windshield wipers. Guy at the shop just did it yesterday. He's nuttier than me. He walked out with his Windex and he picked up the wiper blade arm, sprayed a paper towel and wiped the wiper blade, and they came off black. He goes, "You ever do that?" I'm like, "Yes, I do that." I said, "It's a very good thing to do because the rubber degrades on the wiper blade, and you can extend the life by just cleaning them once in a while." They live.
I don't do that. I probably should.
Yeah, wiper blades are expensive now. For a decent blade, you're going to spend almost $20 a pop for a decent.
When they started selling singles, that blew my gaskets. That's like buying a car battery. You know what I mean?
I know, but they had to because all the newer cars had 2 different size wipers.
Yep.
And that was why they couldn't really sell them as a kit. They would have had to have packaged it like by the car, which would never work because there's just too many cars. So yeah,
that really made me mad when they did that.
Yeah.
Like, man, $20 for one wiper.
I know. Well, I'll say this. I think even the rubber with the wiper blades have gotten better over the years, better than before. And I bought them on Amazon and gotten deals. Rock Auto, they do closeouts, and like a warehouse closeout. They'll buy a bulk lot, and now when you go to Rock Auto, look up your car. The last category will usually be in red, and it'll say closeout. And if you open that, if you register your cars on Rock, they'll send you an email every now and again with if they have closeout stuff for any of your vehicles. And I mean stuff like oil filters be like $2, $3 a piece. Spark plugs maybe, an iridium plug that's like maybe $15 in the store. Maybe they'll sell them for like 7, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Get some good deals.
I never knew.
But that's why I stock up on the air filters and oil filters. I'll stock up on cabin and stock up, by like 2 or 3,
Nice.
because you change them every year and God knows how long you're going to keep the car anyway. So,
yeah.
But yeah, you get some good deals like that.
No, I have to keep that in mind.
The body guys will tell you, make sure you clean and wax your car before the winter. Keep a good coat of wax on it.
Yeah.
Keep the paint in good shape. Like here in the Northeast, we get snow, we get ice, which wreaks hell with paint, just like the sun does.
All my cars are old now, so
right.
Back when I had my custom stuff, I would make sure that was
yeah. Sure. And like you said before, in the summer and in the winter is when you're going to lose batteries, alternators. That electrical stuff is going to go because it's in the high load condition. In the summer, it's in high heat, which exacerbates the wear. And in the winter, it's in the freezing cold. And now it's got to put out like full. So that's when you lose those components. The other thing to look at, if you don't, most people don't have access to a lift, but you have a shop that works on your car, get it in, have the guy just put it up on the lift and do just like a check, a walk around check. Look at the CV boots, look at the ball joints, look at the boots, see if they're greasable, grease them. A lot of the ball joints aren't, but some are. And look at those CV axles, because if the boot fails, now you're going to eat up a CV, and you might as well fix that before it's a failure. Rear of the cars are really, there's not much to look at. I mean, you have the sway bar links front and rear. They go bad regularly. And just, look around, look at the exhaust system, make sure everything is, nothing's hanging or loose or.
I got a question for you. When I, on my Chevy truck, I put the lower end shackles on. And the factory shackles did not have grease fittings, but the new ones do.
Oh, good.
And so when I went and got the oil change, I was like, hey, make sure you hit those back shackles, because I couldn't find my grease gun. I greased the bus, and I don't know where I put the gun.
It's behind the wall somewhere.
Oh, my goodness. Everything I touch, I lose it. And I know if I go by it, then I'll find it.
Oh, so, what I doubt. I
went and got the oil change, and the guy was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, man, I just put them on so I know they're there for sure.
Right. And, if they're new, it's just going to take maybe half a pump, and that's it, because there's grease in them.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, there's greasable bushings or, bearings. That's good. That's good.
I could feel the difference of the ride as soon as he greased them.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I was working on a oh, no, I don't. I had my Impala in the shop a couple of weeks ago. I did an oil change. And, that car is old school now. And I brought my grease gun with me, and I forgot how many freaking grease fittings are on the front end of a traditional. I mean, you're doing this all day, man. There's fittings everywhere. There's got to be, I guess, at least 3, 6, 9, 12, maybe about a dozen fittings.
Yeah.
All over the place. But yeah, the newest stuff, the front wheel drive stuff, everything is sealed.
Yeah.
And I did we were talking about that years ago when my co-host Joe was with me, and he had worked for Chevy, and he said, yeah, somewhere along the line, somebody did a test. They cut a brand new ball joint when they came out without the grease fittings to see how much grease was in there. And there wasn't a lot. And if you've ever taken a new car, take off the brake pins to see how much grease is in there. I mean, it's a little dollop. He found out through GM, he was able to talk to people. They actually had a specification for how much, I think it was measured in drams, which is like, I don't know, 1,000th of a gram. It's a 10,000th of a gram. It's a very small fraction of a gram, but they measure it in drams. How many drams of grease should be in a ball joint? Talk about pinching pennies.
Right.
They're shaving Lincoln's face, man. They're like,
Well, my opinion is they're doing that so you'll buy a new car in 4 years.
Well, they say that it falls in line with the service life of the component. The component will last its intended life, if greased this much. Too much grease doesn't do anything to extend the life. That's what they say. So who knows? I mean, maybe they're right. Maybe they found out, hey, they were wasting $1 million in grease every year. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I know they have a spec, and I know it's small. So, but yeah, and you really can't. There's really nothing else to do. Maintenance wise, but the best thing is get the car in for a checkup, a yearly check. And I like tell people, like, you know what, plan it so your oil change is in, like, just when we're going from summer into fall. maybe not right now. You could wait till October, even into November, and then get a good look under there and see what's going on, and then you'll know if you need anything for the winter.
Yeah.
When I had my Mazda, my thing was right off the bat when it was new. I bought 4 mounted dedicated snow tires.
Oh yeah.
And then because it was a little front wheel drive car, it was a 5-speed, but it was light. And as soon as the problem was deciding when to put them on, because the rubber is very soft, so the temperature has to be under 45 degrees, or else you're going to wear them out prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
But these things grip on ice. I had the first ones I had were the not Winterforce. That's where I ended up with, was the Firestone Winterforce. I had the other ones, the real popular brand, Bridgestones, I think they were. It'll come to me. But anyway, there were many years I was out there with snow falling on me with the jack because I was waiting. You don't want to put them on too soon.
Yeah.
And then you never know when to take them off either. Like, when's the snow over? But now you're saving your 4 summer tires, which are going to suck in the snow.
Yeah.
You're keeping them with the aluminum rims nice in the garage out of the weather. They're never going to see salt or snow. And I bought steel wheels with the snow tires. Let them take the abuse,
Yeah,
and you just got to switch them twice a year.
Yep. I got to get on my Ford pickup. I'm sitting in the lawn chair. I was having to look under the truck, and I see my whole pumpkin, the bottom of the pumpkin's wet.
Typical.
So I'm leaking under there.
It's probably the pinion seal.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the pinion seal coming down. That's very common. I mean, it could be the drain plug if you have one. And if you have a cover, if the cover comes off, there's a gasket. They sometimes leak, but more likely than not, it's the pinion seal.
Yeah. So I'd have to drop the drive shaft to pull that, right?
Yes, and it's a very specific procedure when you got to take the yoke off, the big nut. You got to take the yoke off, pop the seal. Now, some rears want you to put in a new crush washer inside. You got to look at the procedure for what's up for your rear, and to put that, once you put the seal in, there's a procedure to torque that nut, and that's why guys keep a beam style torque wrench, the old style beam, because you have to kind of. It's like as you're turning it, you can read that. You don't really want a click style. It's got to be a very specific torque. If you torque it too much, it's like a wheel bearing. Now you preload the pinion and you burn out the rear. So you got to read up on that and make sure you get it done right.
Yeah, well, I had to do that anyway because my drive shaft, like when I pull off from a light, I hear a clunk, and what's happening is that drive shaft is.
Yes, that's another thing you should grease.
Yep.
The drive shaft. Now, on is that a 4-wheel drive truck?
No, 2-wheel.
Okay, I know. Like on my FJ, it's 4-wheel, but the drive shaft actually has a slip yoke in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a center bearing and a slip yoke, and that lets the drive shaft extend and contract depending on what you're doing. When you're 4-wheeling. But typically, what happens if you stop at a light, and then usually it's when you let off the brake, you get that clunk.
Yep.
The drive shaft goes back. It sticks. The slip yoke sticks.
Yeah, mine does it when I pull off.
You got to grease it.
Yep.
You need to grease it. Yeah.
And I had it at the shop. And I told the guy, I was like, hey, when I take off, it does that clunk noise. And he was so confused.
Yeah.
I was like, I want you to drop the drive shaft, grease that yoke, and put it back in.
And you don't even have to drive it. You could do it in the truck.
Yeah. And he said, oh, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah. He looked at it.
Yeah. When I got it back, he was, we couldn't find anything. I was like, I didn't need you to find anything. I needed you to do what I needed you to do. Exactly.
The biggest problem with that is getting the grease, the end of the grease gun into the U joint to hit the Zerk fitting. So you may have to turn the drive shaft to like open it up a little, and you may have to fiddle around and play with it. When I do the FJ, a couple of them are really tight, but you can get them. You just got to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
But that you usually will take that clunk away.
Yeah. I need to do it.
And the other thing is, when the car's up, obviously have them look at the brakes. And when you look at the brakes, I mean, I do this all the time. Even with the project cars, like I will well, sometimes I just fixate on what I'm doing and I don't look at other stuff. But when I do my own cars, I do an oil change and I'm laying there watching the oil drip. So what do? You look around, and we kind of came up with this saying, like, you always look for something that's shiny, something that's hanging, or something that's wet.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times I was laying under the car, just looking around, and I'd look over and find a screw in the tire and say, "Oh shit, okay, I gotta plug that."
Yeah.
But that's when you look around. That's when you'll see a CV joint that maybe is ripped or leaky, or you'll see a ball joint issue. You just gotta. And I always look at the brake hoses, make sure they're not cracked and split. Because that's a failure happening. And if one is bad, I would change them all. They're not expensive. It's not hard to do unless the lines are rusted. But I tell you, I do so much brake work. Anybody who does brake work is going to have the tools and the tricks needed to make that, to get even rusted brake lines off.
Yeah.
There's ways.
I got to do. I'm gonna do the service on the bus probably next week because it's supposed to be kind of warm next week.
Yeah.
Before the cold hits me, because I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the hoses, belts,
right.
Check everything, check much as I can,
And take those old ones and throw them in the storage somewhere. Take them with you.
Yeah.
This way, if you ever get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll plan.
Yeah, you got to have when you're traveling, you got to have your own mobile shop with you.
Yeah. All right, let's get the fellas in and see what they're talking about.
How do you lift that bus if you have to change a flat?
Bottle jack.
Okay. All right.
I think I'm going to invest in one of those air bottle jacks because I have air on the bus, and I can.
I like keeping a bottle of jack with me, but that's another story.
Bottle of jack.
I can get the Coke anywhere.
Yeah. I used to change my tires on my semis, man, because one time I got a flat and I called the service guy. It was $700.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. So I bought the spoons and I learned how to change them myself.
That's tough work.
Yeah. My truck had the air lines on it. So I got adapters where I could put air hose on it.
Nice.
Use the impact wrench and take them off, jack it up,
Excellent. Very good.
So I don't think I'll be buying spoons because my back's bad now.
I
do one of these tires.
Right.
But I'm going to carry a spare in the pickup that I'm towing, so I'll have a spare with me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Good.
So I'm trying to do
Do you have a cap on the pickup?
No, but I think I'm going to put one on.
I was going to say, you put a cap on there, you just extended your safe storage by, a good amount.
Yep, that's the thing I'm going to do.
And this way, when the wife kicks you out, you got a place to sleep that's not in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the rain.
No. It's so fun sleeping in the rain.
Hey, fellas.
What's up, guys?
What's happening? Keith, you're on mute.
You're looking at it. This is what's
Hey,
happening.
what's up?
There you go.
What's
works
going on?
better.
Keith, what'd you do? Broke your arm?
You should see the other guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a rotator cuff surgery.
Oh, did you?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
I guess it went all right. I mean, I'm in a little pain still, but it's getting there. It's been 2 weeks, so.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, we missed you.
Yeah, I know. It's the one Thursday. I'm like, oh, should I join? Like, because I had it 2 weeks ago, and at night I was like, I wonder if I should join. I was all drugged up. I just had the surgery. I go, that'd be a good show.
Yeah. For excitement.
Yeah. But I was out of
I
it.
have a bad rotator cuff too, and bone spurs.
Yeah, that's what he had. They had to grind down some of the bone, and then the tendon there was like 90% cut.
Wow.
I had to pull that back and screwed it back in and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah. So.
Brian, I thought you were in Casablanca there for a minute.
Yeah, he's on location.
No, I'm actually I really didn't feel like going down into the garage, and so I'm kind of camping out in the kitchen. So
The girls go on another Southern Sojourn or something? Leave you alone?
well, they actually went to the movies. They went to go see Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, my daughter
I
went.
guess they remade it or redid it.
Yeah.
And
my daughter
so they went to go see that, and I guess that's what I last heard. So I hadn't seen or anybody. So
That's good. That's going to be about $100 a night, huh?
well, they deserve it.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah, popcorn and everything else is more than the tickets.
Yeah, man. I've been to movies.
it's crazy. It's definitely. I was talking to somebody. I think it was probably one of my customers. That's the only people that really talk to me. So,
Well, the lady at Target talks to you.
yeah, well,
I got a new case, buying a new case just for you.
That's true. That is true. So, but we were talking about something. It's just the most simplest things. You can go to a event. You can go to the event, but anything attached to the event is more than the event. You just if you want to go to see, like, you go to the ball game. You can go to the ball game. You just have to starve and bake in the sun and not do anything, because to do anything, it just costs so much more to throw it over, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you think about the service recommendations for for getting a car ready for summer? What do you think for the winter?
For winter? Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm getting ready for summer though. I'm going the other way.
You're going the other way. Well, we do have global warming, so until we all, lick a tree and buy a battery car, we'll be okay. But
yep, I'm one step there.
I mean, personally, I've learned over the years to do it when it's warm outside, so that you're not out there in 6 inches of slush or snow or freezing rain,
right?
To change the coolant, or I like you said, one of the biggest things that people don't think they need to grease anything anymore, but you have your drive shafts, you have your slip joint, there are pieces that still need to be lubricated. And, I just, like I said, usually in this area where I'm at, Halloween weekend is the turning point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when Halloween comes that weekend, they talk about how nice it's going to be. And of course it's cold, rainy, and miserable. And then that's it. That's the way the weather is for winter. And
they all head south.
The last few years, for the last good number of years, I was looking at my records. I was doing oil changes. I was doing them at home, like into December.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was 35 degrees or 38 degrees, but yeah, I could do that. It's not that.
Well, that is true. I mean, people say they drove by and see me out there working, and it's like, dude, it was raining. Weather doesn't bother me that way. I mean,
rain bothers me. But I'm saying I've always been able to work deeper into the colder weather than into the hot weather.
Yeah.
The hot weather, I just want to be inside. There were weeks I didn't go to the shop because it was too damn hot.
Yeah.
Like, screw it, I'm not going.
But like I said, I always tell people, at least do it when it's still warm outside or nice, and you'll think it yourself, instead of being out there rolling around in the slush or whatever, doing something stupid that you should have looked at.
Yeah. Were there any things that you could add to the to my thoughts and Lewis's thought?
Your belts, your hoses,
Say, did you guys talk about antifreeze? I came in late.
Yeah,
no, we didn't even hit the coolant change. That's like I said, it's every couple of years. I mean, if you want to go on stuff like that, I would say, my big pet peeve is, get your brake system flushed too. It's not a big deal. If a shop knows what they're doing, it doesn't cost a lot of money and it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
They'll bitch and complain about it, but
especially when you get into, it depends on the car. But you really have to pay attention, especially like with power steering fluid or brake fluid, but definitely coolant. coolant is a big thing because some GMs use Dex Cool for a couple years, and when you start mixing coolant, they start having nasty reactions inside. Sometimes you can cause a bigger problem.
Brian, just so you know, that's been since like 1994.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm still, but there's still those. I mean, there are still. I was in the German stuff. When you have a Volkswagen or Audi or whatever, I mean, there's like 5 different antifreezes throughout the years, and you just can't really mix the stuff. And people say, "Oh, antifreeze is antifreeze," or it's like, it's like we get pissed off at the guy behind the parts counter because he's asking you questions about your car when you say, "Hey, man, they're all the same." Sometimes it really isn't all the same.
We have a guy here who's a good friend of the show. He owns a transmission shop. And I've asked him a number of times. I don't know if I've ever asked him on air, but I've always asked him, like, listen, with all these different transmission fluids for these cars, how do you keep them in stock? And he told me, I think he told me off air, he goes, I don't. I'm like, what do? You go to the store every time? He goes, no. He goes, we just use what we got. He goes, it doesn't matter. He goes, the trannies don't blow up. I'm like, wow. I was surprised to hear that. Now he gives a warranty with his stuff. So believe me, if this stuff is failing, he's paying for it. So I still shake my head and still scratch my head at that one. But
my
daughter had a what the hell was it? A Mitsubishi. It was the Eclipse? No, I'm sorry, it was a Dodge. A Dodge Stratus had a Mitsubishi Eclipse engine in it and tranny. It was a nice tranny. And I wanted to service it, but I couldn't see a filter online. And he goes, no, there is no filter. It's a screen. He goes, I could pull it out, take the screen, I clean it out with brake clean and put it back in. I said, wow, is that it? He said, yeah. I said, well, what fluid should I add? He goes, go grab the coffee pot, pour coffee in it. He goes, what the hell's the difference? Doesn't matter. I'm like, now that was a little extreme. I thought that was, I think he was really just screwing with me at that point. But he said, yeah, these things don't have a filter. If something fails inside that a filter would have caught, it's not going to get caught because there is no filter. And then you need a transmission. End of story.
Huh.
So, you talk to the guy who does it every day and you get the real bottom line answer.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I know this is extreme because you take an Audi that ran mineral spirits for power steering. And if you put regular power steering fluid in, you had nothing but headaches and problems, and you were chasing your tail, replacing everything.
Right.
Those things just don't mix, and it's not all the same. And
was that
like
really
I said,
mineral? Was that really a mineral? Not mineral spirits. It was a mineral
but
oil.
it was a mineral oil. I mean, it was
It wasn't mineral spirit.
DFS5 or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah, because they called it the hydraulic pump. If I remember.
It was a hydraulic fluid. It was a different type of fluid. They had a synthetic version of that and a regular. It was like a golden color, and then there was a green color fluid. But I mean, we ran into that problem because they said, "Oh, I had a power steering noise," or it was low, so I added fluid. And then you're like, well, what kind of fluid did you get? Oh, I don't know. It's in the car. And you go in there, and it's something from back in the day. It was Track Auto. It's, power steering fluid. And you're like, well, dude, this is the way it goes. We can replace what's leaking now, but you're going to have to replace everything. Even if you flushed it, once it was in there, contaminated the O-rings and hoses. And it was just a big round circle. And so, and I know that I made that same mistake with antifreeze. I didn't have the right fluid, and all I had was just good old school Prestone green, and I put it in, and I had a block of mud in the bottom with my radiator.
Yeah.
So,
that's what happened with the Dex Cool cars. Originally, that's how it got a bad name.
Yeah.
Because what happened is on the assembly line, they were putting those GM those mucilage tablets in. I actually put those in my wife's Grand Am when I had it because I had a head gasket issue. And man, when I let that thing dissolve and I saw what it looked like, I was like, oh man, this is nasty stuff. And they were putting them into B bodies, and guys were having trouble like crazy, clogged heater cores, because the heater core uses a restrictor in the hose. So it was just clogging right up. I mean, there was, in the early ones, there was a ton of trouble.
Yeah.
I luckily avoided that with my car.
But when we were talking about winter, and I just was thinking, but it's good. I don't know how much people get into it, but I always double check my jumper cables, and I put a blanket, especially a blanket in the car, and I have a little bag just in case. Like I said, some people, the one thing I can say about today versus even 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, if the weather's bad, people just don't go out. They can work from home. I mean, I'm on the road all day long. I'm out driving everywhere, and I see the difference. And, like I said, people now, hey, man, it's not nice out, or, it's wet. I'm not coming out. And they have that option. So there's not a lot of people on the road.
I tell you, I have a great one. My buddy Bill just told me, and I do this too. He swaps out the carpeted floor mats for rubber ones in the winter.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I do that. I've done that in my cars. I did it in the Mazda, but now it's great because the FJ has a plastic floor. It's like, what are you gonna do? Get snow on me? Go on. It's been actually, they had a carpeted mat that went on it, and I take those out for the winter. So I just use the rubber floor. It's great.
Yeah. So like I said, just I guess it's funny when we talk about this because when I was cleaning out my dad in the garage, we were making room, cleaning out stuff when my dad had passed. But he had, what was that? I don't know if I saved a can. I have to see if I can find it. But it was a can of spray traction or something, and it was a blue can.
Yeah, I remember.
And he sprayed it on to help, if you got stuck or whatever.
That's just because he was going to the track at night when you didn't know what he was. It was
well, maybe in the 65 Le Mans or whatever they had, that could have been. He could have.
The other thing, back in the day in the 70s, we always stocked up on Christie's dry gas.
Yeah.
And what's dry gas? It's ethanol. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. It absorbed moisture and that's what ethanol does. So we were putting it into gas in the winter, as a preventative. Now we want to get it out of the gas.
It was funny because speaking of that, I walked into a shop Wednesday, and they had the gas can under the gas can, I mean, not a gas can, a trash can under the gas tank of a car, and they had the plug out, and somebody had filled it with 35 gallons of water. So they didn't have enough dry gas to put in to get the
no, not enough. Definitely.
Yeah.
Not enough.
So the lady said,
they had a plug. It's a good thing there was a plug.
They had taken the fuel line, disconnected, and was running the fuel pump.
Oh, okay.
But they had done it towards the back. I guess the filter was in the back or whatever they had done. And I was like, wow, it's a little bit of water in the back. And she goes, yeah, the lady that owns it kind of had an idea that somebody had put something in the gas tank. And I was like, yeah, well, they put some water in there. So,
a garden hose, that's what they put in the tank.
Oh, I tell you. I was like, well, maybe one of her kids drove the car and they just wanted to top the line off on the gas. Remember when mom and dad's liquor cabinet?
Yeah.
And you took a hit and you always filled it back up with water to put it back at the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe she just thought that we could drive the car and then put some water to fill it back to the line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids these days.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
So, But you didn't forget about windshield wipers? Those are always
No, we
never
talked
looked
about
at.
cleaning the wipers, and and when I could find them, I used to put a winter blade on my car, which is just has a big boot over the ladder style. But now with the beam style blades, they don't ice up like the ladder style, so you don't really need to go for the winter blade if you have a beam style, it's a far superior wiper blade.
Now is a good time to go find your ice scraper.
Yeah.
Now,
because before, when the first hit comes, you can't find. It's just like not trying to find a snow shovel. Especially these cars today.
Look in the trunk of the car. It's probably sitting right in the trunk of the car. It got tossed in there in the spring.
I don't know. I usually leave it out. I forget about it, and I leave it out and drive off and leave one. But I will tell you, a lot of the newer cars now, the linkages are so cheap or delicate that if there's ice and you think, oh, I can just move it, then you pop, the linkage off, or you strip the transmission gear, and you're really in.
That's why I thought some of the most brilliant idea. I think Chrysler did it first, where they put a defroster grid across the bottom of the windshield to de-ice the wipers. But that's why here in the Northeast, what I have in stock is I got like 8 or 10 cans of spray de-icer.
Yeah,
you go out there and spray the it's alcohol, spray it on the window, and
my wife's Cadillac had the heated wipers.
Nice. Yeah. See, that's a great idea. I mean, they came out with heated mirrors many years ago, which was another great idea.
Heated steering wheel.
The interior stuff is purely for creature comfort. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, but the outside stuff, like the mirrors and the glass, it's not only a safety thing. It really is, because people, let's face it, I mean, we all see the people. They'll clear that little circle and then take off down the road.
Yep, that's what I should do.
It'll melt as I'm driving.
It melts all right.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll be driving.
With all the snow on the back, I'm like, you could have at least put the defroster on in the back, and it would have eventually heated it and it would have sheeted off. But you're too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
You probably don't know what a button is.
I remember driving to high school, just looking through the little area that I cleared through and they have the defroster on blasting.
Right.
And then by the time I get to school, the window's all clear, but I'm already at school. The whole way I drove through a little peephole.
Yep.
Yeah, the old Scout had a vent tube that came up, and of course the dash on that's like about 2.5 inches thick.
Right.
So the vent, so it just left it blew a little circle, oblong circle, and you're driving, kind of sideways, and just prayed that you didn't run over anything.
Well, I guess a 12-volt hair dryer.
Yeah, if you were lucky, and it was the windshield wipers were vacuum operated, so you speed up and let off, and it's
go faster, slower.
Right.
It ran off the fuel pump. It ran off the fuel pump on the Scout.
The best, I think, is like in the warmer, like my niece is in South Carolina, but she grew up in Colorado, and then moved here to New York, so she's always had snow. Now she's down in the Palmetto State, and she'd call me, Uncle Ray, I can't believe it. Like, we had like this dusting of snow and people leaving their cars on the side of the road and walking home.
Drive.
Like, what? Oh yeah, she got a real charge out of that.
Yeah, we lived in down by Augusta, Georgia, for a short time, and it was one of those times that they had a freak snowstorm, and it was like you said, a inch, a dusting to 1.5 inches, and the whole town shut down. It was like that's kind of funny, and we're. Actually, when we moved into Oklahoma City, we had snow one time, and we were the only kids that had sleds. The other kids didn't even know what the hell. They were like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because we lived on a hill, and man, me and my brother, we pulled out our sleds, and man, we're running around like it was no tomorrow, and people looking like, what in the heck? Because it was never happened, or doesn't happen much back then.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem with lower states that don't get a lot of snow is they don't have any equipment to get
Right.
it off the road.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you
So
know
that's-
what else?
and
Even
people
up
freak out.
here, because we've had so many mild winters, a lot of municipalities sold off
Oh,
a
jeez.
bulk of because they didn't.
Didn't need it.
You really can't let the trucks just sit. You got to maintain them. You got to do some level of maintenance. So, and they had the budget for it, but they figured, hey, we could use that budget for something else because they're probably getting cut by the state and whatnot. So a lot of them sold off a lot of their trucks, a lot of their heavy equipment, and then they're borrowing them from other sometimes it goes between
Renting them out.
counties or wherever.
Yeah, I think I read something one time, wasn't that long ago. I guess somebody had talked about that and it was in the paper, and they were saying like, the state of Florida only has like one snow plow,
One
snow plow
sander,
truck,
Makes sense.
that's,
Yeah.
one thing or whatever. And some of those states just have one or two,
Right.
And I know here it's funny because if we have a mild winter and if there's a hint of anything, I mean, they lay the stuff on thick on the roads because they either use it or they lose the budget,
Yeah.
And, you go out there and you get your shovel and you can pick up, 8 pounds of rock sand and you can, make homemade ice cream with it or something. But
Well, now we get that. Now they brine the streets here first.
yeah, they brine here
brine them the
too.
night before, and you can oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That brine's nasty.
Yeah.
The funny thing is the landscaper. A lot of landscapes down here, they'll have advertising on their trucks. They'll say free snow removal.
Gee, thanks, guys.
Free snow removal.
They probably don't have to lay into that advertisement line. It's a good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's we've been pretty mild. I mean, we've been mild here, but who knows?
We've been real lucky. It seems to be like every other or every second year, and it's definitely getting warmer up here.
Yeah, we had more stuff down in southern Maryland or down by the bay than being more north like me.
Right.
It's been kind of weird how the pattern's been, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
This year.
Lewis, you were talking about the air bottle jack.
Yes.
I bought the one. Did you ever see it like for engine hoist? It has the big. It's basically just a big bottle jack, right?
Mhm.
I bought the air one on that. It's awesome. You just sit there and go, all right, you gotta go up. Just hit the button. Just go.
Oh, for the engine, yeah.
For the engine hoist, and then you can still pump it. It still has the part where you pump it, and then you just let it down like normal. But it's just uses the air to pump it up.
Where did you buy that?
That was at Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight,
The guy that made my toe tabs has he took a regular a press. It's a pretty big press, but he put one of those on the press to make it hydraulic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's bending 3/16 quarter-inch steel. Like, wow, crazy.
Yeah, that was like one of the best things. The old one went bad. I was like, oh, I'm not going to replace it. There's only a couple more dollars. And I got the air one. I go, this is cool. Just hook it up.
Right.
You don't even have to sit there and pump the stupid thing the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, now you just have to learn when you're using the air. It's kind of like I remember when we finally got the transmission jack that was air powered, and you had to learn foot control. It wasn't, you just couldn't, put your foot to the metal because then the pump, would come up and you're like bouncing around. I know that guys change over on the tailgate, on the lift gate on the tool truck. They change over to Bluetooth, so they have a key fob. Oh. And the guys were talking about learning how sensitive the button is because you're like,
oh shoot, yeah,
you have to get it lined up when you're rolling the box out of the back, and you don't, like on some of the trucks, especially my older one, this one has a plate, so this one you can still open the door or get it partially open, but if you get too high, then you can't open the door, or if you don't have the door open all the way open. If you have it slightly open and you bring up the lift, you grab a hold of the door and start to bend the door frame,
Wow.
So relearning the sensitivity, you just have to pay attention instead of just letting that air
Is there like a switch or something you have to turn on to activate, or just walk up to it, just start hitting the Bluetooth buttons?
Well, it depends. Like I have an on-off switch.
Yeah.
On the truck,
and then use the
and then I have a regular. I still have the regular controller. You know, the yellow controller that plugs in. I haven't switched over to the Bluetooth yet. I really haven't. To me, my problem is I have a feeling that, or a fear of losing the key fob. So it's bad enough, you know, I've left my controller, you know, I've set it down and drove off. So, I mean, you know.
So the controller is already wireless?
No, it has a wire that plugs
wire
into the truck. And, you know, that way, some guys, usually what happens is they leave the controller on there's a little hook that you hook it on, and on the outside, some guys will leave, because I've done it. I've left it on. Then you're driving and you look in your mirror and you see it bouncing along on the road, just the shit out of it. And it's, you know, it's gone. So then they say, "Oh, okay, I'll stop by the Tractor Supply and buy the Bluetooth connector and do it that way." I just I hate having keys in my pocket. So
something else to lose.
You know, having the key fob, I would have a feeling that it would get lost someplace in the truck, or
just put it like an earring through your ear. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or put on it like on a lanyard around your neck.
Yeah, be like that kid that has to have the socks. I mean, your mittens with the string that wraps around you. And somebody comes by and grabs the one, and you hit yourself in the head. You know, I was that kid. Right. You know, I lived a tough childhood. That was, I think that was an old Bill Cosby skit, or Bob Newhart. Probably Bill Cosby, I think, on a record.
I think it was a Cosby, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the Bluetooth winch on my trailer.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that worked out pretty nice.
Yeah. So, but and then actually sometimes I can't find the controller, so then I'm using a power probe. So I just plug it into the plug and use the power probe to run it. And
that's funny.
Sometimes it's like a silent seller, because then the guy says, "Hey, you could do that with that." Oh yeah, well I'll take that too. So
nice,
you know,
beautiful.
So
you just got to find inventive ways of selling. Just just use it and like, hey, what are you doing? Well, yeah, you can use this for a lot of different things. Really? I mean, I need one of those.
Yeah, see the screwdriver? Use it as a pry bar. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. Yeah, just invented it.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
What else?
Stuff. Man. So Brian, I learned something. Today unfortunately, I had to make a splice in the brake line on the olds, and I did it in the rear. I'll post it probably tomorrow. But I used the the new Matco flaring tool. It was 1/4-inch line, and I found something about that tool. I don't know. Do people bring that smaller set back a lot because they have trouble with it? No, maybe they're not using it. Because what I found is this: when you put the the clamp over the line and you tighten the Allen screws, you got to be damn near almost flush before you can thread the other fitting on, the press fitting, because it'll grab, and I think if people start to force it, they're going to damage the threads. So I found that I had to keep tightening those Allens so I could get the other half of the fitting on, and then I had no trouble. It worked beautifully. But I just thought of people being anxious and not taking their time.
Yeah, and I mean I sell quite a bit of them, and I've had maybe one or two come back. Usually usually they say, hey, when I tighten up, the line moved. And that's what owl, no, not the owl, but the softer lines.
Yeah.
When they grab into the teeth, they grab into the teeth of that, and
Right.
then it won't lock into it.
On some of the softer lines, I found that it actually left witness marks in the line.
Yeah, and you have to. And then I usually just, I'll take a little pick or a wire brush, and I clean that out. And they say, "Oh yeah, I never had a problem." I said, "Yeah, you just have to clean out because, like I said, after doing a handful of brake lines, those teeth or the grips in there get filled with the residue or left, what they've tore off of the brake line."
I make it a habit of spraying it out with some brake clean before I put it away, just to get any kind of residue out of it. But
yeah, so
I was just wondering because I used it today, and I was wondering. I saw that. I said, you know what? I'm taking my time, and I actually went and filled with it like maybe 4 or 5 times in a row before I was happy with how it threaded on.
Mhm.
And I said, man, I can see guys saying that's twice and that's it. They're not gonna. They expect something to work like magic,
Yeah,
Not everything is magic.
And I mean, I've only used that one once or twice. I'm spoiled with my hydraulic one.
Yeah.
I mean, that hydraulic one.
Well, but I'll tell you the truth. And I was up under where the rear hose comes through on a GM, and then you have the hard line that goes into it. That was the line. I had a splice. I made a piece like shaped like an S. And I came over about 4 inches. So I was up like under the floor and I had braces all over the place. I couldn't have used the hydraulic. Even to use the traditional one, with the handle that you would. Even that would have been a little.
Now,
bit
see
of a
here
problem.
lately. Actually, it's funny that you said that because here lately, I've had more guys bring the old school traditional T-bar, that bar.
Uh-huh.
I've had more guys bring. They can't get it tight enough.
Maybe it's with the lines. Maybe it's with the newer lines.
And I've had more guys come to me and say this doesn't hold or this doesn't work. Or actually, I've had some where the guys tighten them so tight, that wing nut.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 pieces, they've actually snapped them off.
Wow.
And I'm like,
now, I know they give you a bar in that kit, and the bar is made to go into the wing nut because the wing nut has little reliefs in it, to give it a good tighten. But man, I've never broken.
I've actually just reminded me I need to order one. I had a guy give me one today, and I was like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, I couldn't get it tight enough. It wouldn't hold. And I'm like,
wow.
But
I
know
metal hits. It only gets so tight until the 2 pieces of metal hit. Won't go any further, right?
But that's the thing. What Brian's saying. Now if the guy used like a Bendaflex line, and like I found out when I lent my Matco tool to my buddy Kevin, and I had just used it, it worked like a charm. I lent it to him, and he had all sorts of trouble with it. And then we compared the brake line, and the brake line was different. The stuff he had was different than what I had. I bought mine from the auto parts store here in America. He bought his off Amazon, and I think it was a metric line.
Yeah,
and it was a
you
little
got to
bit
watch
smaller,
the metric lines.
and he couldn't tighten that die.
Just for a little tip, a lot of guys are buying stainless steel brake lines, which there's nothing wrong with. But when you go into flaring or cutting or any of that stuff, you need to have a little torch, and you got to heat it up when you do it.
They're using stainless steel for repairs.
Well, they're either like they sell a stainless steel set of brake lines to change. Like they'll change.
I've done a couple of those. They have the ends on them already.
I know that, but sometimes these guys will still cut this stuff, or they'll get one that's mangled. I don't ask questions anymore. I just try to help them to where they need to be helped.
All right,
but that's not the camp. But even like I said, they'll use stainless steel and they'll cut it down. They'll get a piece of line and it's a stainless steel line that they're putting in. They're not, you
Right.
know, they're just being sent a stainless steel line. They're putting that piece in, and they're having all kinds of problems making the flare.
Yeah.
And if you don't heat it up, you'll have that problem, either not making a good enough flare or cracking it because you're turning it so much to move it, and you got to heat it up. It's just one of those it's one of those things that your dad should have told you, but he never did.
No.
You know, but that type of thing. But because it's very similar. I can't tell you how many times I go up to the car show and somebody put a suspension together using stainless steel
bolts. I see it all the time.
And you're like, dude, there's no strength in this. I mean, it looks good, but you can't be driving this car.
Right.
The tensile strength is not there.
The ductility. Yeah, it doesn't have the ductility of a steel bolt.
And, and then the guy goes, wow, I never knew. Oh, I didn't know that. That's why that bolt keeps breaking. You got to replace it every 3 weeks or, 2 months or whatever. And you're like, oh, my God, But
yeah, that's why.
That's why they survive. Now, see, I couldn't do that because I know what would happen. If I was sitting there and I felt all I have is a stainless steel bolt, I'll put it in, it'll be okay. Well, I already know the real truth that won't happen. So I'll go out there and the wheel will come off and I'll crash into the tree.
Right.
But these guys, that's how we lived when we were kids. We didn't know any better.
We
that's
didn't
why
know
we
we just did it.
Yeah. Right.
We didn't know when we hit how hard it hurt. And when we get older, we know that, so we don't do stuff like that.
Very true.
That's I guess that's my fatherly advice tonight.
That's good. That's good advice. Yeah. More people should listen.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, it's good advice. People should listen to good advice.
So.
Hey, I got a question. Debbie posted something on the Facebook Plan Traffic page, but I was at the doctor, so I didn't get to look at it. Did anybody know what happened? Like car was turned over or something?
Who was that? Debbie who?
Jones, Papa Squirrel's wife.
Oh, no, I don't know.
No, I didn't see that.
I didn't read it. I saw something. I didn't read it, though. I didn't have a chance.
Go back and look.
I have to go
Let's
back and
see.
look. That was awesome what they did for Tori. That was
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was that?
IROC?
Yeah, the
IROC
yeah.
from
the
Royal Garage.
Courtney.
Yep, Courtney Hanson.
They did a car for Tori.
Really?
Yeah, they did IROC.
What was the What was the purpose of that? What was the reason?
It was part of his 9/11. Being a first responder, they showed that they gave the car to him at Plaza One and everything. One Plaza.
So when did did they give him the car like real recently, like yesterday or something?
It had to be because listen, I was just talking to him. I was just talking to him last week, and he was having me try to help him decide what cars to sell, and he didn't say nothing about a Camaro. So,
no, I think it was the other day. I think it was the other day. I don't know.
So he probably didn't know.
No, he said he didn't know. He
said he was going to some car show or something, right? I think that's what he was.
He said that they really surprised him because he didn't. I was trying to see if I could find I hate trying to find the post.
Yeah, if you got to go backwards and find something, it could take you forever.
Yeah,
so much stuff that piles on.
Lewis, I don't see Debbie saying anything in our chat.
No, maybe she. I don't know. Maybe she posted it on Facebook.
Oh, that could be.
I think there was something on Facebook. I don't remember though.
Ed said something. Oh, there was
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
Whatever it was a car upside down, 2 cars.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
But yeah, I didn't even know Tori was into IROCs. I thought he was old, all the
Well,
old.
if you got it for free, he's into it.
Yeah.
If somebody gave me a 92 IROC, I would be like, yep, I like them.
I would venture a guess that back in the day, Tori was into IROCs.
I could see, yeah. He's about he's about what, 50ish? He's about, I could see. Yeah. I was into Cutlasses.
Yeah.
Cutlasses, old Buicks. Beating those IROCs and Mustangs back then.
Right. Yeah, I was into making fun of them myself.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a pretty tough one.
Yeah.
You'd have had a hard time with me.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, I always admired the guys who, after a couple of years, sleeper it out and put a 350 in it, or like, really, make them hop, but let it keep it looking exactly the same. That got some respect.
Oof.
Oh
Nice.
boy.
Yeah, she said they were hit real hard, and
But is that them or?
yeah, Papa's. It's her and her friend, I think, Kat.
Oh damn.
They were on a road trip. Check up on them.
They didn't have a. I thought they had a picture, but they were. That was Tori.
Yeah.
In the blue.
Oh, it just changed.
Man, I tell you, this technology is wonderful.
So yeah, back in high school, I had a 75 Cutlass. I bought it with a 350 in it, 350 tranny, and it looked like crap. And then I just kept upgrading it. I changed the transmission out, put a Turbo 400, then I put a 455 in it, and I kept going to the same places, racing the same people. And then like, they're like, how are you beating me now? I'm like, I don't know.
That's funny.
Look, it's the same engine, and if you don't know any better, look at the old 350. You can't tell if it's 45. I can tell. Oldsmobile people.
Oh, I can tell. I'm working on a 455 right now. Believe me, I know exactly how every fraction of an inch bigger that thing is.
Yeah. And then this one weekend we did we swapped my brother's car. I think we swapped his rear end. He had some like stock rear end. He had a 71 Cutlass and put a 45 in it. I don't remember what transmission. Probably a 400. And he had some lame gears in there. Then we put a 456 in the back.
Wow.
And we went off to go drive around and look for some trouble. And it took off real quick.
Sure.
But top speed was probably like 45 maybe.
Right.
They had to have done this earlier because everybody's wearing a jacket.
That wasn't this week then.
No.
It wasn't yesterday.
See, they're all wearing they're all wearing and the trees in the back, the tree down here has no leaves.
Well,
I guess it was done earlier.
Oh, so he was told not to say anything.
Yeah.
That's how stuff works.
But that's the back, and you can see the wing.
Oh
on
yeah,
the back.
she's got she's got a hat on and full.
Yeah.
Old. That wasn't yesterday.
No, it was.
She's supposed to come on too. Every time I talk to her, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come on," but she's always busy, man. Courtney, she's always into something.
Yeah,
right back.
So what I'm gonna do is next time I see her, I'm gonna do a live right there with her.
Get the phone right there. Come on, you're in. You're on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I miss. She was. I loved it when she was the spokesperson for us at Macco Tools, and I miss that. She was really good. She was at all our events, and we had. I had to see if I have some still, but she was. We had a. Can't remember what it was, but it was a magazine that we put out, and it wasn't set up like a flyer, what we were selling, but it had product in it and people using it. It was, and we would hand it out. I don't know if it was monthly. I think it was monthly, but she was, like I said, and it was stuff that they used on Power Block and stuff like that. It was a pretty good little magazine that way for selling or putting out and people can look at. And she was usually on the cover, so I've got a lot of that stuff. But it was I liked it when she was the spokesperson. Or
I tell you, she does not stop, man. She's always in something with the cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
All right, guys, time for you to bail.
time to bail.
Have a good week.
Good dinner.
Have a good week.
See you later, man.
Take care, guys. See you next Thursday.
All right. So we
That
did
was his
this.
cricket. It was his crickets.
That was or tree frogs.
Yeah, some kind of wild. Yeah.
Yeah. We have we got a couple pools. You know, people have pools, and it gets kind of quite loud at night with the little
frogs going
the tree frogs or whatever. They're just little things, and they're loud as hell, man.
Yep.
So
I put the batteries in my golf cart. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I got this kit with I didn't talk about it yet, did I? I don't think so.
No. You changed over to a 12 volt, or you got 6 volt ones?
No, I got a whole 2 batteries, and it's 48 volts. So 2 48-volt batteries in series.
Wow.
They're expensive. Those batteries.
Oh shit.
Yes. But it was only, I don't know how much more. It was more than me just replacing all the other batteries, but not that much more.
Yeah.
And now I saved but the other batteries were like 300 pounds more.
Oh, wow.
What I
You
put
have
in there.
more batteries.
Yeah, so I lost 300 pounds, so that's good. Actually, even pretty more because I didn't take the big charger out yet, so that thing I can get out of there.
And the wires are smaller.
Wires are smaller, and and the batteries are so light. I'm like, holy cow, these things they weigh nothing. I think
great.
30 something pounds a battery, a 48 volt battery.
Yeah.
And it comes with the charger, a tiny little charger that's like this big. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And now I don't know. I think it's faster. The kids say it's the same speed, but it feels like it's faster. It's got to be. It's hauling around 300 less pounds.
Where'd you buy the batteries from, Keith?
Bigbattery.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They sell a lot of off-grid stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked a deal with them. They're supposed to give me like an affiliate code so I can get kickbacks on there, but I got to get hold of them again.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a video on it. I have the video recorded already. I just need to edit it and, put it up there.
Nice.
But yeah, it went a lot easier than I thought it was going to go. And they fit right in with where the other batteries were. Just took all the batteries out and just put these in place of the 2 other ones wherever I wanted.
Now, how many batteries did you have in it?
6.
So now you now you have 2.
I have 2. Yep.
Because that's the way I have it. The tool truck's the same way in the back. It's got 6 golf cart batteries.
Yep.
In the back.
It was 6.
And there's 6 volts, right? And usually, I did it with my old tool truck. Never really had a problem because of the cost of the battery. Most guys will switch over to 3 12 volts.
Right.
They'll put 3 12 volts in, and it'll still work the same. The only real big difference is your run time without being with the engine off. So I can run. I mean, I can go out and turn the lights on and mess around in the back for like 6 hours with the batteries fully charged.
Right.
Pretty good.
Okay, with the 12 volts, you're only looking at about 2.5.
Yeah.
And then you have to charge. Then you have to plug it into a charger.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
I never really had a problem. There's only a few times, because of idle run. You're only allowed 15 minutes of idle run when you're unloading or whatever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the tool truck falls under. I could be carrying livestock. So I can leave the truck running because I need to have heat and air conditioning in the back because of livestock. That's what they classify us people as livestock, not
people.
persons.
Humans.
Humans.
Well, listen to this. Well, a semi, your livestock in your bunk, but you can't idle.
Right.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've only had a few people, that, while they were out licking trees and leaves, they said, "Hey, you've been idling longer than 15 minutes." And I tell them, "Well, I have livestock in the truck." And then they come look and they say, "Where are the cows and chickens?" And, I have to explain that, like our government looks at us as livestock. So it's a learning experience every day in the big city. So
just put a pet chicken in there and be like, there it is right there.
If I got a pet chicken, I got to have a chicken like the one with the goofy eyes, that all I want it to really fit the part. You know what I'm saying? I don't want a regular chicken. I want it to fit the part.
You get the one chicken that has no fur or anything on the neck.
Yeah.
And it has
I want the chicken. I don't know what Disney movie it was. I can't even remember now. I had to go over and look, but I want the one with the crazy eyes.
Yeah. I can picture what you're talking about. Yeah.
If I was one, I'd have to have
Brian, do you have air or rooftop air conditioner in that?
I have no, I do not have rooftop. I do have a unit inside the truck but it runs off the front of the truck. It has a compressor. I have the condenser and so forth is on the side of the truck. There's three condensers on the side, and I have a unit inside the truck. It's all in one unit, huh?
Yeah, so you have to have the truck running to.
I have to have the truck running for me to use the air conditioning.
Okay.
And then the heat is propane. I do have a propane tank, and then the heat's propane. Okay. My old truck was the same way with the air conditioning, but I had propane and water heat. I had a small radiator and a blower motor on it and actually that's the back in the day, that was a northern truck had both. If the truck was up north in the colder areas, it had both because you would run propane and you can also maintain with the water heat on it. Cool. And I really missed the water heat because, like you said, I would go out in the morning, crank it up, get the chill out, and then I would just run the water heat the rest of the day, and it saved on the propane.
Yeah. So on that, maybe Lewis might know this. They have refrigerators that are what, tri-fuel, and then one propane. Or powered. Yeah. How does the propane one work? It lights a flame, right? How does it make cold air?
I have no clue how to.
Well, they're using propane. They're using propane in it for the gas. For the pressure, and that's what's cooling, because that's what they do. That's what people put in. That's what people put in AC units. They'll take instead of putting R12. When R12 got really expensive, they would fill AC systems up with propane.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's how. There's some other way, because it could go on 12 volt, or it can go on short 110, and then propane. And it's like
you hook a propane tank to it and you fill it. It's just like a generator. It's like a tri-powered generator if it runs on gas, diesel, or propane.
Okay, I got you.
It's that's where it's doing. You're just bypassing. It has another system where you hook a propane tank to it and you fill it. And it's got a whole separate system. That's why usually they're a little expensive, but
so it goes through. Because there's a little flame, so it goes through, it expands, gets cold, and it comes out, and then it burns the extra that's coming out.
Yeah.
So you don't still have.
It's just like an AC system where it's going through the heat cycle, going through gas, liquid. It goes through all the phases.
Yeah. Right. But there's a little flame, I thought. Right, Lewis? Isn't there a little flame?
I don't know.
You have one of those? You don't have one of those?
Mine is 110 or 12 volt.
Yeah. For some reason, I have all three, and I'm like, my RV has propane in it, but I just tried it. And I'm like, oh, let me try the propane one, and it didn't really work that well. It didn't get cold. I was like, this thing sucks. I turned the generator on and turned it on.
Well, a lot of RVs catch on fire from those refrigerators with the propane.
Yeah. I just want to get rid of. It has like a big 50-gallon tank maybe in there. I want to get rid of that and just put like the little portable ones, or just pull them out.
See, that's what I'm putting in this is two of the gas
Yep.
grill.
Yep.
And I'm gonna run my stove and my hot water heater is propane.
Yeah.
I got the tank.
I think that's the only thing I want to use it for. Hot water.
I'm also going to put quick connect, one in the living room, one in the bedroom, so I can use my buddy heaters. If everything goes down, I can just plug up the buddy heaters, wherever.
Okay.
So I'll have the propane on the stove, then I got the diesel heater in the front and the back that runs off my diesel tank.
Yeah. That's what the newer trucks are. That's what they switch to. They switch to the diesel, the diesel heaters, and those are really good. You just have to
clean them.
You have to be careful and not run out of diesel. When they go dry, and you have.
Well, when I plumbed my tank, I left like 3 inches before it hits the bottom.
Yeah.
So
see, it won't run out.
The heater cut off before it drains the tank all the way.
Yeah. Or you don't want to pick it on the bottom because of sludge, or if you get anything in the tank, you don't want on the very bottom. But that was the problem that we have with the propanes. The propane stuff, believe it or not, if you don't run it monthly or regularly, you get a spider web inside. It's usually a spider web gets in there on the thing for the igniter or the heat. Yeah. And dude, it just cause havoc, man. You'll really get the first time. Like I said, now I use because I don't have the water heat. I have to run I run the propane regularly just to prevent, like I said, because I've had that before on my old truck, and you had to get in there and clean all that crap out, and it's not an easy. They don't make it easy for a big guy to climb around on that thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to double up on everything. I'm gonna have the mini splits, one in the front, one in the back, and they'll have heat in them too. So I'm trying not to be cold ever.
Good idea.
I can tell. I mean, and you're going to stay south all the time, so
not even going to use it.
Not even going to use it.
You never know, man. Global warming. That's around be down in Texas and snowstorm.
Well, I've been in Texas, and I've watched it snow. So we went to San Antonio one year for our toll convention, and we came in and there was snow on the ground, and we all kind of looked at each other like,
where are we? We're in Texas? Yeah.
Like out in Vegas, man, it's been getting cold the last couple of years. Yeah, nighttime. Like last year, it was cold the whole week. I only had one pair of pants, and I had to go buy some more clothes. It was cold.
Well, that was like 1 year. It was, of course, it's February, and I was up here, and the girls were down in Florida, and I had my brother-in-law. I don't know. Well, I had season tickets to the Daytona 500, and we had tickets for the truck race. I mean, it came as a package deal, so you had the whole week, And I asked my brother-in-law if he wanted to go to the truck race and everything, and he's like, "Yeah." So we got on a plane, flew down to Florida, and of course, I didn't take anything. I mean, I changed. I mean, I'm figuring oh, it's, I've been in Florida during February. It's not that bad. So I'm like t-shirt and shorts.
Shorts.
Yeah, we jump on the plane. We fly down there. The wife picks us up, takes us out to Daytona, and it was the coldest night of the year, 17 degrees, and everybody's wrapped up in blankets. You couldn't buy anything because everything was wiped out, and you have two idiots sitting there in shorts and T-shirts watching the truck race, and we got about halfway through, and we're just like, dude, this is it, and coldest night of the year. And I remember the guy saying, it's the coldest night of the year, 17 degrees. And I was like, yeah, F this.
Yep.
So I guess you can still have that cold. So
There we go.
be warm.
That happened to me. I went to California with a bunch of friends, and I just, go to California. It's hot there. I just t-shirt and shorts. I went there, and then at night, I'm like, all right, we got to go somewhere. I got to get clothes.
Yeah.
Put a jacket, put some pants. I'm like, it's freezing. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it was crazy. So sitting there and everybody looking like, look at these two idiots, So
T-shirt and shorts. Yep.
Yeah. That was a cold night, boy, I tell you.
Yeah, there's been some cold nights. I remember some cold times down here.
Yeah.
I go outside, there'd be actually frost on the windows of the car and stuff. I was like, oh wow, it must be cold.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah, I don't know what those alligators do when it's cold like that.
I think they just freeze up and I don't know. I know all the lizards fall out of the trees.
Yeah, that was
Freeze up and fall.
one time we were down there. We were down there, and they were talking about how cold it was, and they were saying don't touch them or whatever. You'd be walking along and hear something thump the ground, and
Yeah.
yeah. And they were like, well, they didn't want people to pick it up and like take it to the room. You know what I'm saying? Because then it gets heated up, and you got this
It wakes up again.
Tasmanian devil thing eating everything up in your room or whatever.
Yeah, iguanas all over the place. Yeah.
The iguana. And what do you feed iguana?
Lettuce and stuff like that. Yeah. I've only seen one, probably all my years living here, maybe one or two iguana-sized lizards here. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not south enough. I don't know.
Yeah, you see the little geckos.
Yeah, they see the little ones all the time. Yeah, the little ones.
Yeah, the little geckos. Yeah.
And the chickens eat them. There's none over by the chicken coop.
Wow.
Poor
The kids are horrible. They'll take one and they go, watch this, and they throw it in there, and they like little vultures, like little raptors, go and get it. I'm like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call them up here, but we've just started getting these little lizard things up here, and they're like multicolored and blue and pink and.
Do they slither? Because there's like
they look like a snake. It has like a snake head on them, but they're little lizards.
A skink, like a skink. Yeah,
man, we got a couple of those things.
Like slithers, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of weird looking watching those things.
Yeah, it's like a snake with legs.
Yeah, they're new, or they're migrated more up.
Yeah, somebody must have brought them up there. So, I was going to ask, what time is it? Is it time?
Oh yeah.
Ask Lewis. How's the cats doing? Well, no. We covered that already.
Did you?
Send the skinks to Springfield.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're
it's hours away.
Hours away from me, 3 or 4 hours away.
There'll be little appetizers.
Poor kitty. Ducks.
Yeah.
And the geese. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the news. They had a call. Somebody called the police, and they went out and was talking to the lady and said, "Hey, did you eat the cat?"
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were checking her mouth and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I watched a YouTube of this guy Tyler Oliveira, and he went there. It was like right after the debate, because he had a clip of the debate of Trump saying that. I was like, wow. I go, he's right on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he went out there, and he was asking everybody. It was funny. He asked all the Haitians, anybody eating cats? No, nobody's eating cats. That's funny. They're laughing. No, we don't eat cats. Then they asked all the residents that have been there for a long time. Like, yeah, there's a van driving around picking up cats. I'm like, what? And like, then they go, there's the cat lady down the block. She used to have like 50 cats. Now they're like 20 cats.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the number was, but yeah, it was something. I was like, I don't know what's happening. It's a funny story. That's all I care about. It's funny.
Well, now what's happening next week is Trump is coming for a rally right here in Nassau County. He's coming to the Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Literally right next door to where I worked.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. Well,
Did you see Biden wearing a Trump hat today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That dude's dumb as a box of rocks.
I know.
They didn't put it on right. He put it on over the other hat. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But still.
All right, so we're going to log off the live. We appreciate everybody in the live on YouTube and Facebook. And please tell all your friends that we do this every Thursday night. And we have guests come on from different companies and different celebrities. So keep an eye out on us. And please like, share, and subscribe. And we are off.
See you, YouTube.
Absolutely.